All right. Um, we're going we're going to do a little Pelican today, and we're going to talk about something also today because we want to take a little time to do this. I got a little Pelican here. It's about an inch thick and about 3 inches. Let me get my ruler. I think he's about 3 inches tall, something like that. But I got him he's 4 inches tall. Got him out of a little book, and just made a little pattern for him. Cut it out, and I want to take a little time today to just kind of whittle, talk to you, just talk about some things. As you know, I'm administrator of Let's Talk Carving, and I like to discuss a lot of what we talk about on the Let's Talk Carving. And in the meantime, we're going to whittle a little bit, carve a little bit. And this is just a little freestanding Pelican's all it is. And that's all we're going to make it. It's not a hard project to do anything like that. But we do have to follow protocol in the way we do it. And first of all, the bill, which is right here, we want to separate that just like that. We want to get that back just a little bit as we bring it down. I'm sorry, I've got a little cold. It's been really I'm down here in Texas, and the weather has been really, really nice. It's beautiful down here. I know some of you are still reeking from the cold and may get quite a bit more. I know my son is. He lives in Kentucky, and he's getting some of it. In fact, they've got some real bad weather recently. And those of you that lived around Kentucky, he lives in the middle eastern part of Kentucky, about an hour from Lexington, and little town called Salyersville, and up there around Prestonsburg, Paintsburg, things like that. Okay, we're just going to kind of bring that bill down a little bit. But what I wanted to talk about today is carving itself. I've been getting a lot of letters from newbies and new people who are starting to learn how to carve now, and they really are getting very, very frustrated about the fact that they're just having to learn, and that what I'm saying is today, unfortunately, in today's world, we want instant success. We really do. We get instant success. We do. Even if we don't do very good, we get participation trophies and things like that. But that's not what I'm talking about. And I don't think there's anything wrong with participation trophies. I mean, when it comes to sports and stuff like that, people can choose to do as they please concerning things like that. I'm just cutting this bill down right here. But that's not what we're talking about. I'm talking about the aspect of learning how to have fun carving. And for you people who have not spent a lot of time learning to carve right now and going through all that, it can be a very frustrating process because I've had so many people tell me that I carve and I've made some things, but I'm afraid to show them on YouTube or Facebook or whatever, because I just don't think my stuff is good enough. And it kind of stresses them out a little bit that they have to, and there's nothing wrong with wanting to be better and stuff. But I think if we're not careful, we lose what carving really is all about. It's not about competition, folks. Now, I know we have competitions, and I know there are people that want to be very good at what they do, and there's nothing wrong with that. But the majority of us are not going to be in that category, including myself. I mean, I do all right. I'm a whittler. But I have more fun just working the projects and just sitting here like this and talking to you and whittling and having a good time than anything in the world. That to me is what brings about the joy of whittling and wood carving. And in our quest sometimes to be good, we lose, as you can see. I'm just getting that bill down on that Pelican. We have a tendency to lose what we don't need to lose. We need to understand that why do we do things? Do we just do them? Now, I know people are very competitive. I understand there's some people that are not going to do anything at all until they're going to be competitive. And that's fine. That's good. But with most of us, I want you to just grasp the joy of what carving brings. And I'm going to tell you that when I sit, and as long as I've been carving, but when I sit and I do something like this and sit here and just do even a simple project, it brings such joy to my life, and it brings peace to my life. And a lot of people in the world are seeking peace. They're seeking peace and harmony, a chance to have something that this is why I encourage retired men to get into wood carving, get into whittling. Because, I mean, you've worked all your life, you've probably been through all this mess that goes with life and everything like that. And to sit and whittle and carve on something and have a good time is just wonderful. Now, I've told you before, there are many times I have sat right in the middle. There was a time I went over to Gatlinburg one time. And I remember it was with my family, and they all wanted to go shopping. And I'm not much for shopping. I'm just not. I don't care for it. I don't like it all that much, and I know women do like it and stuff. That was when I was married, and they all wanted to go shopping, and I just gave them the money and said, I tell you what y'all do. Y'all go shop, and I'm going to stay here, and I'm going to sit on this bench. And I had my carving box with me, and I said, I'm just going to sit here and talk to the people and whittle. And that was fine with them. You know, they went off, and I think everybody knows how busy Gatlinburg is. And I mean, thousands and thousands of people on the streets, and people going along and talking, and kids joyfully saying, oh, Mommy and Daddy, can we go here and there? And I sat on a bench there in Gatlinburg one time, and I just started whittling. I just took my stuff out and started whittling. And folks, it was like I had just completely tuned out all those hundreds of people walking by. Now, there were people that saw me and stopped and wanted to talk and things like that, but the majority of the time I was just able to sit there, and I was able to just tune people out, the crowds out, and just whittle. And I want to tell you something, folks, and I'm going to be very honest with you and straightforward with you. When you have got to that point in your life where you can do that and tune out everybody around you, I don't mean just going a trance or nothing, but I mean just concentrate on that piece of wood, then you have brought some of the greatest peace and joy in your life. Because what you have done is you now are, now I'm going to start taking down the head. Now you are, you know, you're entering a time in your life where it is just, you're getting that peace that right in the middle of all chaos, because Gatlinburg is chaos. I mean, I'm sorry, don't get me wrong. It's a wonderful place and stuff, but with large crowds, it is a form of chaos. It really is, and I'm just bringing him down now. I'm starting to bring him down on both sides. Okay, and it is just chaos, and people are everywhere, and they're talking, and they're when are we gonna go eat and all this other stuff. And I'll tell you, that day I just tuned everyone out, and I concentrated on a figure I was doing. And I'll tell you what, that was one of the most joyous days of my life. And yeah, there were people that stopped and that asked me, you know, what are you doing? Or are you carving? And stuff like that. And I said, yeah, or whittling. And some of the kids got really interested in it and stuff. And I talked to them. I carry cards with me, and I give out those cards concerning my YouTube channel. Of course, you know, you get the regular talk of people who, do you sell your stuff, you know? And I say, no, I don't sell my stuff. I'm just, I have taught on YouTube, and I want you to learn to do it and all that stuff. And some of them are very disappointed, but that's okay. That doesn't matter. That I'm not there to necessarily sell my stuff. So, and as you can see, I'm bringing down the head and the bill. So I think they went shopping close to an hour to an hour and a half, and I just sat there on that bench and I just whittled. And I want you to know, it's a great joy that when you get to that point in your carving and your whittling, that you can tune out the world like that, then you know you have reached a pivot point in your carving experience that is so important. And I mean that. It's true. You have reached that pivot point where you are enjoying, you have really hit that point of loving to carve. And when you do that, like I said, you become a person who is among chaos with solitude. And that is what carving brings to so many things. And we are in a world that is full of chaos. Oh, Lord, I've watched these situations. Look, and this is not a political statement or whatever, okay? But I've watched these situations with ICE and all these people getting up and getting into their business and getting shot and getting pepper sprayed and all that other stuff. And I often think to myself, you know, don't you have anything else to do? Now, this is not a question of, oh, well, this is the right of free speech or anything like that, folks. Isn't there enough chaos in our lives without all that? This is why I love to carve. I love to carve because it brings less chaos in my life. And even as an old man who's retired and stuff like that, I mean, you get out here and get the driving and all the crazy drivers and all that other stuff that you have and things like that. and you ask yourself, gosh, is it ever going to get better? Is things ever going to get better? Now we're starting to look like a Pelican, you know. And when you have that situation like that, you just never seem to get better. And so I'm not talking politics and what's right and what's wrong and all this other stuff, but I'm saying that people don't know how to, stress. It's just, people are full of stress. People are full of hate and stress, and that carving brings such peace. It really does. It brings such peace in our lives. And like I said, this is not about policy, political policy, or who's this or who's responsible for that or anything like that. I truly believe if people would get into the arts, or they would paint, or they would carve, or they would do something like that, people wouldn't be so stressed out. I've watched people in Gatlinburg, and they're running back and forth, trying to go to all the exhibits and all the things, and they're rushing back and forth to make sure the kids do this and do that, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I don't see a lot of people smiling or calm or happy. Just seem like they're rushing back and forth to every new thing that comes along, and they want to make sure that they can tell their folks that they did that they went there and did this and did that, and like I said, it's a good thing, but it doesn't bring peace. It brings a lot of chaos into people's lives. And it's not just Gatlinburg. Lord, you go to Disney World and things like that, you see a lot of people, but I'm going to be honest with you, you don't see a lot of people that are happy. You don't see a lot of people smiling or with a peaceful look on their face or something like that. And I feel that wood carving gives you that peace that you need to to do what you have to do. So all right, I'm going back here with the tail right in here. And we're coming back with this in here. This will be where our wings will be. And but I'm just saying, there can be so much more, and instead of worrying about whether you're going to win a prize or not, or you're going to be the best wood carver in the world, look at the therapeutics of what carving can do for you, and how much calmness and fun and just serenity that you can get out of doing a piece and enjoying yourself. And even if you're not that good, even if it takes a little bit longer for you to all right, it's starting to look like a pelican. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Before you even get going, So just going down here at the bottom here and work it out as we go. And so anyway, what I was saying, I'm sorry, kind of got off on a track there. I was paying attention more to my, you see, I started paying attention more to my wood carving than I did to what I was talking about. So, and that's when you really begin to realize that you're enjoying yourself carving. I mean, you really do, because you start getting onto the fact that you're enjoying yourself and having a good time, and that people, I'm just kind of going off here with these feet in here, just sort of going off with those, and then I'm gonna come down here. Let me just kind of put this in the middle here. But when you reach that point and you understand that this is the joy that carving brings more than anything in the world, then you begin to truly understand what carving is all about. Now, years and years ago, a lot of people had to carve because they had to make extra money. And most of the time, most of us are not really making extra money. Now, some of us are selling stuff. I mean, you have people like Alex Joyner who are actually selling his products, and he has to market them. He has to do all those type of things, and that's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about that here. I'm talking about the fact that, all right, I'm gonna draw my wing here. I'm talking about the fact that I'm gonna cut it like that and then come back. All right, here we go. And but as we say, like I said, I've received a lot of emails from people who, you know, they got into the carving thing, but they've stressed themselves out trying to first of all, we all know that have carved a long time, it takes a while to learn carving, okay? It does. It takes a while to learn and to get good at it and enjoy yourself and stuff like that. So just understand that. That's all. It's not a matter of you know, whether you're the best or you're not the best or anything like that. It's just the fact that you have to you have to put your time in, as we might say, in order to get better and better and better. And I've gotten a lot of young carvers who have gotten better and better and better. I mean, they really have. So I'm gonna get this one on this side. So just remember that. Just remember that carving should be a form of relaxation, a form of getting away, a form of art, as we possibly say. Now, art itself can be an outlet for most anything, whether it's just painting or sculpture or whatever. And it's such a joy to watch as people get into carving or painting or whatever it is. And I support all of them, folks. I do. I support all of them. I support all the arts because I feel that that it brings about, you know, so much. And you know, there's been a big argument of, well, is wood carving really an art or is it a craft? And look, don't bother yourself with silly stuff like that. Just don't bother yourself with silly stuff. I mean, don't worry whether it's an art or it's a craft. I don't worry about that kind of stuff because it isn't necessary. It doesn't matter. It's how each person looks at it, and how it brings the joy and serenity and the goodness to your life. That's what you should be looking at. Not whether it's, you know, it's like we get in a big discussion, what is the difference between whittling and carving? Well, whittling's with a knife and carving is with use a few more tools or something like, well, maybe so. But there's so little difference sometimes between both of them. Actually, whittling at one time was guys that would sit on a front porch or sit in a city square, and they would just take a wood and they would shave off wood shavings from it. That's more like what whittling was at one time, but basically just using a knife. But let's not get into all that stuff like that. In other words, okay, we've got that, and don't worry about all that stuff. Just enjoy yourself and do what you have to do, and get that over with. And like I say, enjoy yourself to the point. Yeah, I'm gonna get this neck a little bit down to where you enjoy what you're doing, and you'll be just enthralled with excuse me with learning wood carving, and enjoy doing it, and laugh and get this in between there a little bit. Get this in between there a little bit. And you just we're just gonna kind of put the feet on them like that. In other words, you can do that with a V tool, or you can do it with a, whoops, you can actually, golly, you can do it with your knife. You want to be careful as you get in there. What I'm doing, just cutting that deep in there. Don't have to be perfect, just sort of like that, and then bring them feet actually down even more. And you can do it on the other side and bring this down a little bit right here, sort of square, as we might say. And then we get this down a little bit more in here, working that where I get this this wing to stand out a little bit more. So that's what I wanted to kind of talk to you about. And like I said, I think a lot of people are getting involved in it, but they're just not having fun doing it. It's becoming, some people, Well, I guess in a lot of ways, some people, they're going to be stressful no matter what. Some people just take things in stress. They do. They become, they get stressed out on anything that they do and stuff like that. And I know in learning how to sharpen and those type of things, that can make you a little stressful until you actually learn how to sharpen the way that you really get your knives razor sharp and stuff like that. And I'm just gonna come these up here. All right, now let's see what I'm gonna do here. Get that beak down just a little bit more, and then we're going to, let me get this out of the way a little bit right here. Like I said, I'm sitting here talking to you, and then I start getting into the project and forgetting I'm talking. And okay, now we're just going to take and do a little line here, down here like that. Now you can use your V tool to create this, or you can take and use your knife where you just hit a little line here, and then you come up afterwards and you make your little cut right there. There you go. And you come back like the lower part and you just cut it back just a little bit. There we go. And let's do it on the other side. And we come back as a V tool, is a V, I'm sorry, not a V tool, but a V, like a V tool. And we just slowly remove that little part right there. Okay? And then we just kind of go that and make that what we want it to be. And come over here. Get kind of just kind of work it in there. Okay. Kind of bring that all down in there a little bit. And we want to just get this kind of to a point back here, and then we take our V tool and we hit it. I don't have my V tool with me right now, but we just kind of hit it with our V tool. Alright, I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to come back a little bit more with that beak. Come on, get out of there. Okay. Alright, look at that. And the same thing here on our, we'll come back with a V tool. In fact, let me go wet this thing. And I'll get my V tool. Ooh. Yeah, look at my, don't look at my chair, folks. My darn chair broke itself. my chair busted yet the other day when I was sitting in it, and I had bought that thing, and it was a good chair, but had problems with it. Here's the V-tool. Here. I had it busted the other day, and I've got another one ordered. But it's that's what I told you about laughing at life, folks. You know, you used to those old chairs like that, they would last oh gosh, they'd last 30 years. But you buy one now, it don't last that long. Holy cow, what in the world? Alright, I guess I wet it. Maybe I'm going the wrong way with it. There you go. Okay, there we go. Kind of get you some movement on it. That's it. I was going kind of the wrong way on it. What it is changing grain on this thing as it goes along, and my V-tool needs to be sharpened. Anyway, you come back here with it as well, and you get your little, yeah, that's something. Ooh. Maybe this is not my other V-tool. Maybe that's one of my older ones that I had one of them messed up. It just did. Anyway. And then you got to change direction back here. Anyway, I'll do that later with my bigger V-tool. But you come back here and you get the thing. And I'm just going to put my two eyes right there. Now, with the eyes, we can carve them in, or we can just paint them in. I think just painting them in is probably going to be just a whole lot better. And I'm going to bring these a little bit closer together. And you know I pedal, folks. You know I do. I just keep going on, and I'll probably work on this just a little bit more before I do it. In other words, just that's the joy. I tell you what, I've sat here, I've talked to you. We've enjoyed ourselves. Taking a piece off right there. There we go. Do 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 do. Anyway, you got a general idea of what their little Pelican's going to look like, and when he's painted here, even be, you know, when this stuff is just, we're using white wood, we're using basswood, and it's white, and really it doesn't have any look to it until it's painted. It really doesn't. It does not have any posture until it's really painted, and then the life comes out in the piece as you go through that time, in other words. All right, and like I said, I'll get my other V-tool, and that may be my older V-tool. That's I had to regrind the stupid thing, and it didn't come out the way I wanted it to. And I've kept it in my box, but I don't know why. And the same thing here, you make your make your little feet and all that other stuff. But I hope that what we were just talking about makes you understand and gives you just calm down, just relax, and have a good time. Have a lot of enjoyment and doing, and in other words, enjoy your art, okay? Enjoy your art. Don't let your art that you're doing, don't let it eat you alive with all this, oh, I wonder if I'm good enough, I wonder if I'm this, I wonder if I'm that, I wonder if I can win a ribbon, I wonder if I can do. Look, if you're going to win a ribbon, you're going to win a ribbon, okay? You know, I've told a lot of people, and there's nothing wrong with winning ribbons, folks. But those ribbons, they're not, you know, if I went to pay for a cup of coffee at Starbucks and gave them one of them ribbons and told them that, look, this will pay for my coffee, they're not going to take on that too close. So, I mean, it's important to me, would be important to me, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's important to anybody else. You know, one of the things, we'll talk about this sometime, and we think we have. One of the things I have seen very often, and it really saddens my heart, is to see, I have seen carvers who have gone into nursing homes or things like that, and they've left their beautiful pieces, and children have just come in there. And I saw a young man do this, and this man had tools and everything, and throw that stuff away. I don't want it. I ain't got no use for it, and just throw it away. So that's why you need to enjoy your wood carving, folks, when you do it. Now, a lot of you, I'm sure, have given them to friends and family, but the person behind you, even though you loved it, may not mean as much to them. And after you die, it's just not going to mean that much, maybe. And your stuff may get thrown in the garbage too. I hope not. But we got to be realistic, folks. It can happen. So anyway, there's our little Pelican. And like I said, I'll get me another V-tool and work that out, work that a little bit better. And we've got our little Pelican there. Okay. Well, this was a simple little project, and we just did it. And I'll get him painted and show you. But God bless you. Enjoy yourself. Have a good time with your art. And may the Lord Jesus bless you through each and every day of your life. God bless you. Bye-bye.